palm reading of a female whose age is 25 years old. We'll be reading her hand, and before we start the reading, I would request you to press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update. You can call me or you can email me. These are the phone number and the email that are mentioned out here if you wish to take a reading from me. And now we straight away head to this particular hand image that we have in front of us. The first thing that we see on her hand is that we find that the hand structure is made up of the bone structure in the fingers and the palm and the skin covering over it. So we find that it's a reasonably strong structured hand that we have in front of us. It is always better to have a strong structured hand. If a person has got a strong structured hand, it basically signifies that the person has got a good hold over people, money and resources. A person who has a weak structured hand would show weaknesses in all aspects of their life. A strong structured hand basically signifies strength. So in the palm reading, the main part of the palm reading is the hand structure. If the hand structure is good, automatically even less good lines, very few good lines, would also give better result compared to if a person just has very good lines but the structure of the hand is bad. We equate the hand to a building, and the beams and the pillars that are there, and before you make the building, you basically try to strengthen the base. So if the bone structure is strong, it means that the structure of the building is strong, and when the earthquake and the flooding and everything wrong happens, the building still remains intact because of the way it is built with the strong iron girders and the cementing. So the cementing is the skin covering over the fingers and the palm as such, and the bones are basically the iron pillars. So it's a good hand in that particular aspect. Now people want to know about money, possessions and wealth. This is the main question everybody wants to know. I'm just going to draw the money line first because this is the line that everybody wants to know about. But mind you, I'll just tell you one important aspect about this particular line. People think that money line is the only line to look for money. I would say you have to look at almost every aspect of your palm to come to the final conclusion as far as money goes. So it just can tell you 10-15% of how much money the person is likely to make, and if there's going to be stability in the money aspect or not. So we find that the line of money is starting somewhere on the mount of moon. It is starting on the mount of moon. So whenever the money line starts, the fate line starts on the mount of moon, it signifies that the chances are that the person is going to be good where it's in trading activity and service industry. Anything to do with public appreciation could also be beneficial. Help from male members, it could be brother, it could be father, it could be husband, or it could be male members somewhere outside also, the person is likely to benefit. And at the same time, moon is also related to water, and water basically connects continents in the sea. So what happens is that a person who has the money line start on the mount of moon, it signifies that the chances are, if the person stays away from far away from the birthplace, or stays near to the water, or stays in the foreign country, there the maximum benefits are likely to come to this particular person. But at the same time, travel industry as well. So there are many aspects that I have told you. All those could be beneficial in this particular person's case, so this lady's case. So this is what it is. Now I'll just mark the age on the hand. This is the line of money, this is the line of head, and this is the line of heart. So below the headline, this is the headline. Below the headline, this age is before the age of 35, and this is 35 to 53, and this is 53 and beyond. So this is the different segments of the line. I just briefly, and on the headline, you would notice that just before the age of 35, the headline is a little bit unclear out here. So there should be clarity in the headline. I would try to show this particular aspect more on the left hand. Now you would be wondering why I took up the right hand first and not the left hand. Generally, it is said that we should take a look at the left hand for the female and right hand for male. But working women, I have found we should be basically looking at the right hand only and not the left hand. It's not that both hands are completely different. Both hands show similarities in most of the cases. It's in very rare case scenario that both hands might show dissimilarity totally. So out here also the hands are similar. It's not that they are dissimilar. So we are talking about the headline first now. See, on the headline you would notice that this portion of the headline, there are few island-like formations, and there are 2 or 3 island-like formations just under the finger of Saturn. This is the finger of Saturn, and this is basically the mount of Saturn. So if there's an island on the headline under the mount of Saturn, this could signify some kind of mental issues that the person is likely to face in her life, and sometime around the age of 35. There are few years before the age of 35 and a little bit probably till 36, 37. That's the maximum, I would say. So few troubles might crop up during that particular period. Now this island-like formation could also mean that stomach related issues can also crop up. This is just a possibility, although for stomach to be disturbed, the main area is, this is basically the main area, the mount of Mars. So mount of Mars does has few horizontal kind of lines, but not as negative as we see in other person's case. So I would say that mount of Mars is reasonably good. So with small amount of medication or small amount of like a better lifestyle, the person can improve upon this aspect as well. Now, as far as the money line goes, the money line in the left hand is also starting on the mount of Moon. This is the mount of Moon, and it is starting on the mount of Moon, and it becomes much more stable as it basically reaches somewhere at this particular point, and this age is approximately, this point is approximately 26, 27. That's the approximate age, I would say. And it remains stable throughout the portion. It is basically traveling until the last portion of life. There's no break as such that we see on the left hand on the money line. So stability can be expected. This is what the left hand was showing. But in the right hand, we find that the money line, the fate line, is kind of breaking somewhere in the middle of the head and the heart line. So there's a changeover that is happening somewhere out here. So the age approximately is going to be, if at this point of the fate line is age 35 and this point is 53, so somewhere in the middle is 44. So somewhere a little bit before the age of 44, these problems can come up. See, the break in the fate line could bring about 2 or 3 different things. One could be that job loss or work loss can happen. This is just for a brief period of time. The second could be the main earning member, their health or wealth goes down. And the third thing is one's personal life can also get disturbed if there is a break on the line of fate. So this is what is represented by this break that we see on the fate line. And now we just take a brief look at the headline in the right hand as well. You would find that the headline is quite stable in the right hand, and somewhere at the intersection of the fate and the headline, this portion, there's an upward line kind of moving towards the mount of Mercury. Now a branch from the headline moving towards the mount of Mercury, this is a beautiful sign to have. See, consider fingers to be the sky, the tips of the fingers to be the sky, and the base of the palm to be the earth and the gravity. And if the headline, there's a movement upward, this is a beautiful sign to have. That means some upliftment that is happening somewhere close to the age of 35. And what is going to happen is that probably the person could get lucky, the person could reskill themselves or go for higher studies, or some jubilation happening or some success happening during that particular portion of one's life. And it is considered to be a beautiful sign. see, signs of success not necessarily come only on the fate line and the sun line. This is the sun line. It can come on any portion of your hand. So even the headline is a very important, although headline is for your thought process, but apart from that, it also shows your mental inclination. So it's all about our thought process. It is said whatever we think, we basically become. So same goes with like success can be associated with the headline. Now the starting portion of the headline, we are looking at the starting portion of the headline. There's an upward kind of lines from the headline moving towards the mount of Jupiter. This is the mount of Jupiter, the pointing finger. This is a very important line, and although this portion of the line is joining from the mount of Jupiter, these lines are joining the headline somewhere at an early age, let's say somewhere close to the age of 15, but the effects of these lines remain throughout the life. Jupiter being a big planet, what it does, it kind of makes your mind growth oriented, like you're seeking honor in your life. So a person who seeks honor is likely to get honor, and the effects of these lines are permanent. Like even when the person was young, the person would be seeking honor and kind of getting honor as well in her life. So honor need not be very big rewards, but it can be even small rewards that we get in our junior classes. So those things basically get duplicated in our life. So it's likely to kind of keep on duplicating, and the person would keep on moving towards honor and position. So this is what is destined for her, and this is what she's targeting towards. So these lines have a really good effect. So these are upward lines. Now to get success in today's times, the most important area to be considered is basically the little finger, the pinky finger. This is the finger of communication. This is the finger of calculation. This is the finger of statistics, economics, biology, whatever you can basically call it. It is also law, physics, chemistry, anything, and it could also be writing skills as well, communicating or networking skills. So all these things are connected to Mercury, and Mercury is all about your knowledge. And if this area is perfect, the chances for your success increases. What basically the book of Palmistry says, if a person has got these perpendicular lines under the finger of Mercury that we find out here, the chances are that the person could be a good doctor. But what I found that in reality, I found that not necessarily the person could be a doctor, but the person could also be a healer or a doctor. But I found that these lines basically represent set of skill. So a person who has got one line means one set of skills. A person who has got multiple lines, that means the person has got multiple set of skills. So this is a beautiful aspect that we find out here. And the good part is that these lines that you see, these lines, see one few lines also that you can see very weak and small lines. So these lines of no use, but the stronger ones are the important lines, and they are quite long as well. So see, long lines and deep and clear lines on the amount of Mercury signify that the person is sharpening their skill. So how do you get success? You get success only if you sharpen your skills. So that's how the person is likely to get success. You would also notice that there are few other lines as well that are traveling, pointing towards the mount of Mercury, running from close to the line of fate and moving towards the mount of Mercury. All these lines are basically Mercury lines. See, you don't need to have too many lines, but if they are present, it's well and good. But sometimes when there are too many lines, that the persons might overwork their mind. So I would suggest to this particular person is kind of also make जैसे एक होता है ना कि शांत करे अपने mind को, to make your mind, I wouldn't say the word, I'm not finding the right word to cool your mind. I wouldn't say cool your mind, but it is something that you need a little bit of rest as well. Like consider something that this is the blackboard, and if there's too many things written on this blackboard, there's no space that is left left for anything to write. So too many lines basically means that the blackboard is full of content written on it. So it is always good to have less lines. They give much better result than having more lines, but these are not in any way negative. The reason being because they are not intermingling with each other. They are not crisscrossing out on the under the finger of Mercury, or that they are those ones that are running ones that are running from the fate line, close to the fate line towards the pinky finger. So these lines are very, very independent lines. So independent lines are considered to be good. If there were crisscrossing lines that I have just drawn, something like this, it would mean miscalculation, miscommunication and miscalculation. That is basically a negative aspect, and we don't find that particular thing in this particular person's hand. So this is what I can see as far as the Mercury mount goes. Now, apart from this, you would also notice that the line of heart is ending under the mount of Saturn. This is a beautiful sign as far as what I found, that when the heart line is ending under the mount of Saturn, it signifies that the person is targeting towards money. Saturn is all about money, possessions and wealth. It basically signifies that the chances are that the person, the heart line is ending under the mount of Saturn. Basically it signifies that the person is targeting towards money, possession and wealth, and the person knows the importance of money. See, these are very, very small things that add up, and it adds up to make a person successful. So a person who values money is a person who is likely to get more money. It is easier said than done. See, sometimes I'm just drawing another line which the person doesn't have. I'm just drawing a long line of heart. A long line of heart would mean that the expectations from a relationship are very high, and the person could be unrealistic as well, and the person could be idealistic and sensitive. But this person is not these things that I've just spoken about. The person is not idealistic, the person is not sensitive, and the person is basically a realistic person comes from if the heart line ends under the mount of Saturn. Now the person is likely to tell me that no, I know she would be telling me that she's a very, very emotional person, but I would say that she is more of a temperamental person, and she's a person who's expressive with her emotions. Being expressive with your emotions is different from being emotional. So the reason why she's more expressive with her emotions, because the heart line is kind of curving deep down towards the mount of Saturn. The line could have just remained simply something like straight out here, but in this case the line is curving upward towards the Saturn finger. This is the reason why the person is more expressive with their emotions and very but the person is not emotional, and the person could be extremely responsible, because Saturn brings in responsibility, and Saturn is also a slow moving planet. So what it happens is that the person is grounded. The person knows the ground situations very well. So these are the qualities that the person gets, and that's the reason why the chances for their success increases. We are just looking at chances in your hand, the possibilities in your hand. That's the only thing that we can basically look at. And as far as money goes, this is a beautiful aspect, and this is not happening that suddenly the person is becoming responsible. These things have remained with her from an early portion of her life. It's right from the early portion these things have remained. One more thing I need to add out here is that I've talked about the upward lines on the Jupiter. This is the high position, the skills line that are there, the heart line moving towards Saturn. But apart from that, one more thing that is required for success is having the desire. And their desires basically come from the area of mount of Venus. See, Venus generally is thought that this is just the area of your sexuality, but Venus is basically the area of your desires. This is the area of energy, stamina, vitality, and the strength. See, basically the warmth within you. So when we find on this particular hand, this area of mount of Venus appears to be well padded. A person who has got a well padded mount of Venus means that they are full of energies and full of vitality and full of desires, and these desires are everlasting desires and everlasting fuel the person has. I equate Venus to fuel. Fuel can be petrol, diesel, the ghee, butter, whatever you can call it, and the area of Mars as the area of your fire. So both these areas, if they are good, the chances for success increases. If both these areas are bad, bad areas means having a flat area of having a flat area of Venus. Basically, it's a negative sign, because the desires are going to go down very early portion of your life. But this area in this particular lady's hand is well padded. Well padded means that the desires are going to remain even when the person is getting older. After the age of 50, 60, 70, the desires are going to remain. That's what is required. And the area of Mars is basically the area of fire, and people who have got too many crisscrossing lines over there, that would mean that the person is misusing their fire. Having too many crisscrossing lines over the amount of Venus would mean misusing your fuel. Both these things we can say with certainty that there are not too many lines on the amount of Mars and the amount of Venus. So in that way we can find that the area is positive. And just briefly, one more look at the line of fate. It appears that the fate line is broken at the early portion of the life. This portion that she has crossed, and a little bit further as well. There are two breaks, I think, that I can see in her hand, and this is a little bit negative. But it is also said that there's a saying that fail fast. Fail fast means whatever has to happen, let it happen in the early portion of your life, because during the early portion of your life you can like, even if you are defeated, even if you suffer losses, you get that experience, and in the later portion you won't have these losses. One more portion of the fate line goes. This is the fate line, and there's a trouble line is coming and touching the fate line before the intersection of the head and the money line. This portion, so this portion where the line from the amount of Mars negative touches the fate line, the age is 34. So 34 portion, at the age of 34, few problems might crop up, but things are going to remain okay. It's nothing too bad that I need to elaborate. Now before I end the video, I would just go towards the sun line. This is basically the sun line, and the sun line, I'm just going to draw the age. This is the line of head, this is the line of heart. This portion of the sun line is before the age of 35. This portion is 35 to 53, and this portion above the heart line and below the fingers is 53 and beyond. So you would notice that the sun line appears to be the strongest after it crosses the heart line, after the age of 53. Before that, you would find that the sun line is kind of broken, bits and pieces, and it's not a very strong kind of a sun line. Now a person need not get disheartened, because one line doesn't mean everything. Try to understand, just one line being a little bit dim doesn't mean that your career becomes dim. It's a combination of many lines put together that kind of brings success or failure to a person's life. So if a person has got good Mercury line, if a person has got good Jupiter line and a good Venus and good Mars and a stable headline, so all these things are basically adding up to success even now, and the heartline ending under the amount of Saturn. So all these things are adding up to success. So even if there's a dim and weak sunline, it doesn't mean that the person is not going to be successful. During this particular period, the person can be successful, but the problem is could be that the person might have doubts and self-doubt. The explanation is something like this. If a person has got a dim line, it means that the room the person is in is full of clouds, and the person wants to go outside their room. They are unable to go outside the room because they are not able to find their way out. So this is what it means by a dim and weak lines on weak sun lines. As the sunline like gains in strength, it means that there's huge amount of sunlight and huge amount of energies that the sun is giving to the earth. I'm just equating it with the sun because this is the sun line. And if sun is energizing the earth, the chances are the plants on the earth are going to go much faster. So same goes with your career. When the line of sun is deep and clear and singular, and it is full of strength, it means that the person is energizing their work. People call the sun line to be the career line. People call this line to be the name and fame line, and people call this as the luck line. I don't call them as luck line or name and fame line, but I don't totally disagree with it. But what I say with this particular line is that how much energies we are giving to our work. So a person, when we find that the line is strong, we say that portion, the person is energizing their work. The portion it is weak, we say that the person needs to energize their work further. So this is going to be my suggestion, that the person needs to energize their work a little bit more. The heart line as such is reasonably okay. It doesn't have too many branches over it, and it's kind of reasonably deep and clear. See, heartline plays a major role in a success or failure. A person who has got a broken kind of a heartline would mean that they are totally distracted and not committed to anything. Out here we find that the line of heart is quite deep and clear and singular kind. So the person is focused and not distracted. These small branches that you see, these are minor distractions, but there are no strong branches that are hanging downward from the heart line towards the headline. So those would have been negative. We don't find those kind of lines. Just a brief look at the left hand. One last look at the left hand. You would notice that the line of sun is extremely good in the left hand, above the heart line and below the finger. So this portion of the line is a very important portion. One more thing that I've come to experience in my reading is that when the sun line is good out here, it need not be that the person is successful only after the age of 53. The person can be successful even at an early age as well, even in spite of having these dim lines that you see, the sun line. And one more thing I need to add before I end the video, that is we find a mole on the second phalange of the thumb in the left hand. It basically signifies, this portion is basically on the thumb, this portion is for tact and reasoning. So probably these things might be playing out in a major way in her life, tact and reasoning. And she also has got a small mole on the finger of Saturn. So Saturn is for money, possession and wealth. So, and this is also the area of responsibility. So probably they might be playing in some significant way in her life. If we take a look at the right hand also, we find that there's a strong mole like thing on the finger of Saturn. So it might be playing out, Saturn portion of life might be playing out in a significant way. Saturn is also for, see, there are good and bad qualities of Saturn. The good qualities are responsibility, being grounded, knowing the ground situations, responsibility and money management. But the negative qualities could be depression and sadness. So, and apart from that, there's also mole on the area of Mars positive. This is the area of Mars positive. So Mars positive area, when a person has got a mole, it basically signifies this is the area of coolness, calmness and tenacity. So these also might play out in some significant way. As far as the headline goes, there are two upward lines, one at the age of 35, one at the age of probably 40, 45. So those are the portion of life which are going to be extremely productive. This is on the right hand. And on the left hand, if you notice a little bit towards the end, that the headline is moving a little bit upward. So upward movement of the headline is also considered to be a good sign. I'll just end the video now, but one important thing I need to add out here is that I repeat few things in my video towards the end. Importance of money line in terms of how much money we'll make in our life is just 15%. We can come to know about money from any aspect of our palm. It is your headline, your heartline, your sun, Venus, Mercury, any amount. Every place you can talk about money, possession and wealth. And a saint once said, you do not need to go to an astrologer or a palmist to know about your future, because You already know your future. Present is a result of past. How will be my future? Future depends upon what you're doing in the present. What are we? We are product of our thoughts. So the thoughts that come to our mind are really important. Keep positive thoughts and keep good company, because company matters the most. And if a person has got an excellent hand but bad company, everything is going to go down the drain. And if the person has and doesn't have a very good hand but is in the right company, things would go in the positive direction. Thanks for watching this video. Bye and take care.